Welcome to OOTO TV, the out-of-the-office investigation from the past into the future of health. This time we're discussing herbs for thyroid health. Hello, I'm Bob.
And I'm Sue.
Today on OOTO TV, our mission really is to explore this fascinating world of herbs and natural remedies for thyroid health. We'll be looking into both the science, the hard evidence, and also traditional wisdom.
That's right. We're going to examine specific herbs, how they actually work, their mechanisms, and maybe most importantly, how you might carefully integrate them into a bigger health plan. We'll focus on a holistic view, covering key herbs like, say, ashwagandha, aloe vera, black seed oil, cordyceps, turmeric, and also essential nutrients, selenium, zinc, vitamin D. They're all part of the picture.
And a really big piece, those interactions with thyroid medication, it's vital.
Absolutely. It's all about a personalized, informed approach. We really have to stress that.
And for you, our listener, this whole investigation is really about your well-being. Targeting an approach to herbs for thyroid health truly impacts your wellness, your quality of lifestyle, and how well your thyroid functions. It's just critical, really, for your long-term health strategy.
Exactly. And it's so important to say this right at the start. While herbs for thyroid health can really improve thyroid function, you absolutely need to know they can also cause harm if they're not used correctly. So designing a plan, a thoughtful plan for herbs and supplements for thyroid health, doing that iteratively, well, that improves efficiency and success.
Okay, let's start with the foundation. The idea that diet and lifestyle are just fundamental for thyroid health. These natural approaches, like specific diet changes and certain herbs, they can be fantastic allies, especially if conventional meds aren't giving you the full results you want, maybe fewer side effects too.
Right, but, and this is a big but, it's crucial to be clear, these aren't replacements for prescribed medication like levothyroxine. Not at all. If you have something like Hashimoto's thyroiditis, that autoimmune condition, or if you've had thyroid surgery, that medication is necessary. What we're talking about here is complementary support, working with your treatment.
Precisely. Take Hashimoto's, for example. There's some really clear research showing how making deliberate changes in diet and lifestyle can actually lower those antibody levels, improve thyroid function, and really cut down on symptoms. Even if you're already on medication, what you eat hugely impacts systemic inflammation, which is so tied to diet.
Yeah, and the studies get specific. There was one, a 6-month study with 34 women, all with Hashimoto's. They put them on a gluten-free diet. And the results, well, they saw a measurable drop in thyroid antibodies. Their thyroid function improved. Even their vitamin D levels got better compared to the group that didn't change their diet.
So that means cutting out wheat, barley, rye, oats for many people.
Yeah.
A direct impact.
Definitely. And then there's sugar. We think calories, but it's more than that. Too much sugar is a major driver of inflammation. It can potentially trigger those autoimmune thyroid attacks. Plus, it messes with blood sugar, gut health, hormones. It's a whole cascade.
And dairy. A lot of people with Hashimoto's find they're lactose intolerant. So high dairy intake might mean inflammation, maybe diarrhea, acid reflux.
Right. And while you've got alternatives like almond or soy milk, even those don't work for everyone. It really comes down to figuring out your own individual tolerance, listening to your body.
The paleo diet is another interesting angle. Tries to mimic how our ancestors ate, right? Whole, unprocessed foods. Cuts out refined sugars, certain oils, additives. It looks promising, but yeah, we probably need more large-scale research on these more restrictive approaches for thyroid specifically.
This whole part of the conversation just highlights that, defining constraints, limitations, really understanding the details. Herbs for thyroid health can build effective routines when you approach it thoughtfully.
And building on that, we absolutely have to talk about the gut-thyroid connection. It's huge. Hypothyroidism often slows down gut motility. That can lead to things like SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth.
Yeah.
Causes those chronic gut symptoms like diarrhea for some people.
And that's where probiotics might come in. The helpful bacteria from fermented foods, kefir, kombucha, maybe yogurt. They could potentially support gut health, though the FDA hasn't approved them to treat or prevent anything specific. But the idea is there and the research is growing.
You're listening to OOTO TV with research by author Paul Boileau. There was even this fascinating Chinese study looking right at this link. They found that the gut microbiota, basically the mix of bacteria in your gut, could actually reflect your thyroid health status.
Wow, really? What did they find?
Well, people with thyroid disease, including nodules and cancer, they had more overall bacterial diversity, but fewer of the beneficial types like lactobacillus and butyrus monas. And they had more of others, like Neisseria, Streptococcus, and in cancer cases, Clostridium.
That's really interesting. It suggests maybe down the line we could even use probiotics for diagnosis or treatment. Definitely an area to watch.
Okay, so we've laid the groundwork with diet and lifestyle. Now, let's shift gears and talk about some specific herbs and nutrients getting a lot of attention for thyroid support, especially in autoimmune situations.
Great. Let's start with ashwagandha. It's a classic adaptogen, helps the body handle stress, and it's really making waves among endocrinologists and integrative practitioners. It seems to have this ability to modulate thyroid function, particularly if someone's in that subclinical hypothyroidism zone.
How does it actually work, though?
Well, it seems to boost the thyroid's own secretion. Studies show it can increase T3 and T4 levels, your active thyroid hormones, and that leads to a drop in TSH, the signal from the brain. It fits right into that whole HPA axis, the brain-thyroid communication line. Plus, it's known to be anti-inflammatory and an antioxidant. That helps fight oxidative stress, which is a big deal in autoimmune thyroid disease.
So it could potentially slow down Hashimoto's progression,
Yeah.
reduce antibodies.
That's the potential, yes. Reducing that oxidative stress and inflammation is key.
Okay, next up, aloe vera, Aloe barbadensis Miller. Seems like it does everything.
It kind of does seem that way. It's got useful nutrients like selenium, zinc, magnesium. It even contains tyrosine, which is a building block for thyroxine. And beyond that, it has these anti-parasitic, anti-inflammatory, antiviral properties. So it could help with blood sugar, gut problems, maybe even viruses like Epstein-Barr that are sometimes linked to autoimmunity.
And there's a specific study on this for Hashimoto's, right? An Italian one.
Yes, exactly. Really exciting. Women with Hashimoto's and subclinical hypothyroidism drank 50 milliliters of aloe vera juice twice a day for 9 months. The results were pretty remarkable. A 54% average reduction in TSH and TPO antibodies, and their free T4 levels went up.
Wow, 54% reduction in antibodies. That's huge. You said that puts it almost on par with selenium.
Pretty much. Selenium is known to reduce antibodies by maybe up to 40%, so aloe vera showed really impressive results in that study.
Okay, what about black seed oil? Nigella sativa. I've heard it called the cure for anything but death.
Yeah, that's the traditional saying. It's known as a great liver tonic, it's antibacterial, and a potent anti-inflammatory immunomodulator. It's even used for things like rheumatoid arthritis. The main active component is thymoquinone. That drives a lot of its benefits antioxidant, protecting the liver.
And for the thyroid specifically.
Studies show it can improve thyroid status, lower TSH, lower thyroid antibodies, and actually increase T3 levels. And crucially, it seems to have activity against H. pylori, the bacterium, which is a known trigger for some cases of Hashimoto's.
Oh, interesting. And benefits beyond the thyroid, too. Metabolic ones.
Yes. When combined with levothyroxine in studies, it showed help with lowering lipids, reducing body weight, and BMI in Hashimoto's patients. So good for overall wellness, too.
Let's touch on cordyceps. That's a medicinal fungus, right?
Yeah.
Some would use like an herb.
Exactly. It's really valued for its antiviral properties, especially against Epstein-Barr virus, which keeps coming up in relation to autoimmunity. But it also supports the liver, the gut, the immune system generally, helps counterbalance some of the suppressive effects Hashimoto's can have.
And the research suggests it helps with antibodies.
It does. Studies, some using a specific drug derived from cordyceps called Corbin capsule, showed improvements in autoimmune conditions. They saw reduced thyroid antibody levels in both Graves' and Hashimoto's patients when it was used alongside their regular thyroid meds.
Okay, and turmeric. Everyone knows turmeric or curcumin, its active compound. Anti-inflammatory powerhouse.
Absolutely celebrated. Its anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects are really key for fighting that extra oxidative stress you see in both hypo and hyperthyroidism, like Graves' and Hashimoto's. Cellular protection is a big part of it.
And it helps beyond just inflammation.
Yeah, it seems to improve the health of blood vessel linings, reduce blood pressure, addressing those cardiovascular risks linked to thyroid problems. Plus, its antibacterial and antiviral side means it might help with gut issues like SIBO that often go along with hypothyroidism. It helps normalize the whole environment.
And quickly, the key nutrients. We mentioned selenium, zinc, vitamin D earlier.
Right. Selenium, absolutely essential for converting T4 to the active T3. It's part of the antioxidant glutathione peroxidase. Supplementing often lowers TPO antibodies. Zinc also critical for thyroid function, TSH production, and it helps heal the gut lining. And vitamin D. So many people with autoimmune conditions are deficient. It's crucial for balancing the immune system. Definitely impacts thyroid health.
You're listening to OOTO TV with research by author Paul Bulow. Okay, this all sounds incredibly promising, but we need to pump the brakes for a second here. While the enthusiasm is understandable, we absolutely have to state clearly, herbs for thyroid health can improve thyroid function, yes, but they can also cause harm.
That is such a critical point.
They aren't regulated like prescription drugs by the FDA. That's the reality. And some traditional remedies, especially Ayurvedic ones, these Rasa Shastra formulations, some have been found with really dangerous levels of heavy metals, mercury, lead, arsenic, like hundreds of thousands of times the allowable limits.
That's genuinely frightening.
Especially if you have something like Hashimoto's, where your body's detox pathways might already be stressed. So you absolutely need extreme caution. Source from vendors you trust implicitly. It's non-negotiable for safety.
Absolutely. That underscores just how important informed navigation is in this whole area. It's powerful, but needs respect. So let's dive into those specifics now, especially how these herbs and even foods might interact with standard thyroid medication, levothyroxine or LT4.
Yes, understanding this is paramount, because so many common things can mess with how well LT4 gets absorbed and how effective it is. Our sources list some key ones everyone on LT4 should know about. First off, fiber-rich foods like whole wheat bread, bran, granola, psyllium husk. They can literally bind to the LT4 molecule, reduces absorption.
So what's the advice there?
Separate them. Take your LT4 at least an hour apart from high-fiber foods. And maybe get your thyroid levels checked more often if you eat a lot of fiber.
Okay, what else?
Soy products. Soy protein, whether it's in shakes or, say, infant formula, that can also interfere. Again, about a 1 hour separation is recommended.
And coffee. I hear that one a lot.
Yes, coffee. Espresso, regular drip coffee, even barley coffee. It seems to trap the LT4 somehow. Leads to lower T4 levels in the blood, and it takes longer to reach the peak level.
So wait an hour after your LT4 before having coffee.
That seems to be the consistent advice, a full hour. Interestingly, some studies suggest the liquid or soft gel forms of LT4 might not be affected as much by coffee. Something to discuss with a doctor, maybe?
What about milk?
Cow's milk, specifically.
Yeah.
Research suggests taking LT4 with cow's milk can reduce absorption by about 7 or 8%.
Do we know how long to wait?
Not really. The ideal separation time isn't clear yet. And we can't assume this applies to almond milk or other plant milks. Their composition is different. Certain fruits, too. Papaya, for instance. It has papain, which can make the stomach less acidic, raising the pH. Plus, the fiber can bind LT4.
So less absorption.
Exactly. There are case reports of people eating a lot of papaya, and their TSH went up, T3C4 went down. Grapefruit juice also seems to slightly reduce LT4 absorption. Best to avoid eating large amounts of these right when you take your meds.
Okay, this is a big one. Mineral supplements.
Huge category. Calcium carbonate, acetate, citrate, doesn't matter the form. Iron supplements like ferrous sulfate, aluminum, often in antacids, even chromium picolinate.
What do they do?
They can form these insoluble clumps with LT4 right in your gut. It means you don't absorb it properly, it's less effective.
So major timing issues here. How long a gap?
For calcium and iron, you need a good 2 to 4 hours between them and your LT4. For chromium, maybe 3 to 4 hours. It's a significant separation.
But you mentioned the liquid LT4 might be different.
Yes. Remarkably, liquid LT4 seems much more resistant to these mineral interactions. Could be a really good option for people who need to take these supplements. And one more. Enteral nutrition, like feeding tubes. LT4 can actually stick to the tube material,
reducing the dose delivered.
Right. But again, studies show liquid LT4 doesn't have this problem, and it's easier to give through a tube anyway.
Wow, that's a lot of things that reduce absorption. It really highlights the need for careful timing. But is there anything that can actually help LT4 absorption?
Yes, there is, and it's quite exciting. Vitamin C.
Vitamin C, how does that work?
It helps lower the stomach's pH, makes it more acidic, and that more acidic environment significantly boosts LT4 absorption.
So taking vitamin C could actually improve how well the thyroid med works.
Clinical studies show exactly that. Supplementing with vitamin C led to lower TSH levels, even normalizing TSH in many patients who had hypothyroidism plus gastritis.
So much so that some experts actually recommend considering taking vitamin C with LT4 in certain situations. A great example of positive interaction.
Okay, we have covered so much ground today on OOTO TV, really digging into herbs for thyroid health. What are the absolute key takeaways for our listeners?
I think first and foremost is that interconnectedness. Your gut, your thyroid, your whole system, it's all linked. And those diet and lifestyle changes we talked about, gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free for Hashimoto's, They aren't just about feeling better symptomatically. They can actually change antibody levels, improve thyroid function. It's direct impact.
Definitely. And those specific herbs we discussed, ashwagandha, aloe vera, black seed oil, cordyceps, turmeric, they each bring something unique to the table, from helping balance hormones, fighting inflammation, supporting the immune system, improving gut health. It's a toolkit.
And it's not just folklore. As we saw, there's actual research showing effects on TSH, on TPO antibodies, even on things like cardiovascular health and reducing oxidative stress. The science is catching up to the traditional use.
But, and we have to keep saying this, that crucial caution remains. These herbs are potent, they can help, but used wrongly. Or if they're poor quality, they can harm.
Right, that heavy metal contamination issue in some unregulated supplements, especially certain traditional ones, it's a serious risk. Vigilant sourcing is absolutely essential. Quality and safety first, always. Maybe talk to a knowledgeable practitioner.
Exactly. And then there's that complex dance between your levothyroxine and everyday foods and supplements. Fiber, soy, coffee, milk, minerals. Knowing when to take your medication relative to these is absolutely vital for effective absorption.
It really brings us back to our core messages for OOTOTV, doesn't it? We saw how herbs for thyroid health, with defined goals and health points for qualitative review, may provide the desired result for lifestyle quality, health, and wellness.
Yes, and that designing a plan to herbs and supplements for thyroid health iteratively improves efficiency and success. It's not a magic bullet, it's a personalized strategy. You work with it, adjust it, ideally with your healthcare provider.
It absolutely highlights that herbs for thyroid health is critical to successful deployment of a truly holistic health plan. It directly impacts your wellness, your quality of life, your thyroid function. It's about optimizing, not just managing.
What I find so fascinating is how our understanding keeps evolving. You see ancient wisdom meeting modern science. We're learning not just what might work, but why it works down to the molecular level, connecting the gut, inflammation, the immune system, the thyroid. It's all coming together.
So thinking about all this, a question for you, our listener. Given everything we've discussed today, the foods, the lifestyle factors, the specific herbs, the interactions, what's one single change you might investigate further to help optimize your own routine?
Yeah, and what surprising link between maybe your daily habits and your thyroid health has today's investigation brought into focus for you? Something to reflect on.
Thank you so much for joining us on this investigation into herbs for thyroid health here on OOTO TV.
We really hope this discussion gives you valuable insights and empowers you to approach your thyroid health journey with more knowledge and confidence.
Remember, keep learning and always collaborate with your healthcare team. They're your key partners.
Until next time, stay curious and stay well.